Fighting the rising drug abuse problem and passing a new budget are two of the priorities for the 2016 from Indiana's congressional delegation. But it's the recent death of a Supreme Court justice that is dominating discussions so far during the Greater Lafayette Commerce's trip to Washington. Senator Joe Donnelly and Congressman Todd Rokita both say they hope important legislation can pass in this calendar year. But the delegation also heard from a former congressman with some strong Hoosier roots who is much more skeptical.
Democratic Senator Joe Donnelly was the first meeting of the day for more than 30 members of the Greater Lafayette Commerce trip to Washington, D.C. He tells the delegation he hopes to continue to work on the economy. But the majority of the meeting was spent talking about how to fight the growing opioid problem, with prescription drug abuse leading to heroin abuse, both types killing Hoosiers.
This is all bipartisan. Taking care of our kids, making sure that your next door neighbor is okay. There's no political action in that. That's just one of us looking out for another one.
Donnelly is working on a bill that would dramatically limit the number of pills given out after some surgeries. For example, instead of 30 to 35 Oxycontin or Vicodin pills given out, just 3 to 5. More could still be issued to a patient who needs them, hopefully keeping them out of the hands of drug abusers.
That takes a significant amount of pills off of the market.
The delegation met with Republican Representative Todd Rokita in the afternoon. The congressman spoke on the nation's unsustainable path of spending, as well as the recently passed Every Student Succeeds Act, legislation that News 18 has already extensively covered as local school leaders consider finding their own replacement to ISTEP. He says it will be tough sledding to get bills passed this year, but thinks, like Donnelly, it can be done.
They predicted that, but then we got the highway bill done, we got my education bill done with the Senate, we got a budget done with the Senate, so things can get done. Certainly not as much as I would like.
Rokita, who serves as vice chair of the Budget Committee, says his focus is getting another budget passed. The one last year was the first in 11 years that passed both houses of Congress.
That's a very important piece. We're going to be a very difficult piece this year, but I am committed to getting it done.
But in between the optimism, Wednesday was perhaps a dose of reality from former Congressman Ben Quayle, son of the former vice president, now a political consultant.
Everybody's playing politics.
Quayle addressed the group at Duke Energy's Washington office. He believes the Senate will grind to a halt within a few weeks over the fight to appoint a replacement to Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia. He says Scalia's death changed the ballgame completely as both parties look to dig their heels in for maximum political gain in November.
I just think that there's probably going to be a Senate that doesn't really do that much. There's going to be a lot of infighting, and there's not going to be a lot to get done.
That was News 18's Dan Klein reporting. He'll have a lot more on the impact of Justice Scalia's death tomorrow. In addition to meeting with Coates, the group is meeting with the National Republican Senatorial Committee, the Democratic Governors Association, and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. We'll be there every step of the way and have updates throughout the day on News 18 and as well as WLFI.com.